specifically talking about Muslims who try to incline a little bit more towards the Sunnah of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the Seerah of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. A little bit more attention and reflection and contemplation is given to Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's Sunnah, which is part and parcel of the adab for his love, but is not the absolute package, because Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's Sunnah and Seerah and lifestyle and character is something to be adhered to and persevered on throughout our life, throughout the year, every day of our life. And as I was thinking about a topic for today, with regards to Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's life, how is he a perfect exemplar in our life? If you want to summarize, there are so many khususiyat, so many specialities and unique characteristics of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's character and akhlaq, that if you wanted to try to find one specific quality, one specific characteristic, then arguably so we can summarize that one specific quality which was an embodiment, personification, the epitome of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's character, and that was moderation. I'tidal, al-qasd, to be in the middle of extremity. Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was the embodiment and personification and the perfection of moderation. And we'll talk about the character inshallah, but just, subhanallah, just his beautiful features. Just the beautiful features of Rasulullah which have reached us through different riwayat and ahadith, in the books of hadith. One specific narration from Hind bin Abi Hala radiallahu ta'ala anhu, that even the description of his features was something moderate. For example, he says that kana fakhman, kana Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam fakhman mufakhaman. He said Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was revered, honored, venerated, held in high esteem, naturally awe-inspiring by one and all. فخما مفخما يتلألأ وجهه تلألؤ القمر ليلة البدر. His face, Mubarak alayhi salatu wasalam, used to always have this glow, like the glow and the shine of a full moon at all times. And then he says that this was just his Mubarak face alayhi salatu wasalam. He said, if you want, I'm talking about moderation. So he said his height, أطول من المربوع وأقصر من المشذب. He said he was shorter, he was taller than a short person and a little bit shorter than an extremely tall person. Perfectly balanced height. And they said, no, let us talk about his hair. He said, رَجل الشَّعْرِ. He said his hair wasn't too curly and not straight, it was wavy in between. Perfectly, moderately balanced hair. مُعْتَدِلَ الْخَلْقِ. He said the character and Rasul's features were of perfect balance, proportionately jointed, moderately built. So all of these features, I'm not going to go through all of them, but it replicated and showed outwardly in his dealings and his character. Mu'tadil, right in the middle. So much so that how much he disliked people to go in extreme in the name of Deen. How much he disliked that? In Hajjatul Wida, Rasulullah, he was riding the camel and he reached the Jamarat where he's going to pelt the Jamarat, which is a symbolic gesture. People go there and they get so emotional, they take the shoes and start slapping it. It's a symbolic gesture which you have to throw the pebbles. So Rasulullah said to Sahabi Abdullah bin Abbas, he said, get me some of those pebbles, few pebbles. Abdullah bin Abbas was trying to impress Rasulullah, so he went and he brought 7 big stones. Big ones. And so Rasulullah took them and said, what should I do with this? And then at once he dusted it off and he tried to take out a few small pebbles from those, and he said, this will suffice. And he said, gather everybody over here. And he said, Ya ayyuhan nas. He said, oh people, iyyakum wal ghuluwa fid din. He used that opportunity of throwing stones or pebbles at the Jamarat to make a statement about extremism. That don't become extreme. إِيَّاكُمْ وَالْغُلُوَّ فِي الدِّينِ. He said, be careful with regards to becoming overzealous in matters of deen. فَإِنَّمَا أَهْلَكَ مَنْ كَانَ قَبْلَكُمْ الْغُلُوُّ فِي الدِّينِ. He said, indeed the nations of the past perished, and one of the reasons for their downfall was they used to become overzealous in aspects of deen which was not in conformity with the teachings of the Rasul of the time. And the very famous hadith of Sahih Muslim, Rasulullah said, Inna ad-deena yusrun, trying to explain his balance. Because Inna ad-deena yusrun, sometimes people misquote this hadith to make deen look too easy, but the translation of which is, indeed, the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in its entirety, in its complete package, within moderation, is very easy to follow. It doesn't mean a person say, I don't want to do anything with deen, because Rasulullah said deen is easy. That's a misquotation. What it means, deen in its entire package, within all of the spheres of moderation, is easy to follow. Right? Then he mentioned, وَلَن يُشَادَّ الدِّينَ أَحَدٌ إِلَّا غَلَبَهُ. Whosoever tries to take a strict, rigid approach with the deen, what's going to happen? The deen is going to overpower him. It's going to conquer him. He's not going to be able to last. So he said, فَسَدِّدُوا وَقَارِبُوا وَأَبْشِرُوا. So he said, stay on the straight path, moderately balanced to the best of your ability or near that. وَأَبْشِرُوا, and then take glad tidings from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you are doing the right, taking the right approach to the deen. So Rasulullah's teachings itself emphasizing moderation within its complete entirety. And you know very well the hadith of Sahih Muslim that 3 people came to Rasulullah's home, came to the house, the wives, and they were asking and inquiring about Rasulullah's ibadah. They wanted to get a picture of how he is, because we see him outside. We want to get a picture of how he is inside the home. So when they were informed about his fasting, about his prayer at night, so what they were thinking, very rigid, very strict, very extreme. In their mind, they thought somebody would be like Rasulullah fasting every day and praying all night and not having time for his family. So after they were informed by the wives, Azwaj Mutahharat radiyallahu ta'ala anhunna, when they were informed, كَأَنَّهُمْ تَقَالُّوهَا, as if they had belittled what they were told. In their mind they belittled it. And one of them, na'uzu billah, remarked and said, أَيْنَ نَحْنُ مِنَ النَّبِي صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ. But you know what? He can take it light, na'uzu billah. Because where is he and where are we? We need to go to the extreme to get to the level of Rasulullah close. And so one of them said, yes, you know, as far as I am concerned, after today I vow, I'm going to pray every night, whole night without taking rest. The second one said, as far as I'm concerned, I love fasting, so I'm going to fast every day. Wala uftir. I'm not going to break my fast. Continuous fast. And the third one said, Amma ana fala tazawwaj. I'm not going to marry and go into that hassle. So I'm not going to marry, I'm going to stay away from the concept of having a family. And one is extremely praying, one is extremely fasting, one is extremely staying away from marriage, etc. When Rasulullah was informed of this, he got upset. It was visible, and Rasulullah's dislike of a certain act was visible on his Mubarak face, and he had to address this to those people individually and then address it on the mimbar also. Addressed it on the mimbar and said, what is happening with certain individuals that they have went to such rigidity and extremity to make a point that I am so and so. Ama ana wallahi inni la akhshakum lillahi wa atqakum lahu. He said, listen, there's no comparison, to be frank. There's no comparison with you and I. I'm the most God-fearing, most righteous, most closest to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But for ana usalli wa arqud, I pray and I'm balanced because I take rest when it's needed to. I fast and I break the fast and I marry. فَمَنْ رَغِبَ عَنْ سُنَّتِي فَلَيْسَ مِنِّي. So whosoever moves from this sunnah of mine, he's not from me. So this is my sunnah. Moderately, perfectly balanced. Rasulullah as well say that when he used to fast, we would think and assume that he's never going to break his fast because we saw him fasting so much. And the others were saying when he did not fast, it seemed as if he's not fasting forever. Such a balance. Can we strike that balance? This is the point of today's discussion, inshallah, that we see in the Muslim world and in the world generally, people who acclaim to be followers of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they had a very rigid approach to Islam, very distant from his teachings, because none of his seerah, none of his sunnah is understood by them. So on one sphere of the circle, one side of the scale, we see Rasul's teachings with regards to moderation, with regards to be in the middle path. On the other side, we see how he was in his dealings with Sahaba radiallahu ta'ala ajma'in. And there's this myth, this part of the extremist idea, there's this myth out there that Islam is a religion entirely devoted to rigidity, and there's absolutely no flexibility, and there's no concept of having a good humor, smiling, laughing, having light banter, and joking and being humorous. It's got nothing to do with Islam. This is the biggest fallacy. Why? Because look, I'm going to give you an example from Rasul's life. You know the word in English, oxymoron. Oxymoron is a word which depicts two clauses, or a clause in which two words are juxtaposed next to each other but contradictory words. For example, if somebody says small crowd, so small crowd. Or they say, somebody knows some example? Hardcore? Hardcore? Similar. Somebody say pretty ugly. That's one example. Pretty ugly. But there's a lot of examples of that. My point is oxymoron. But you know what's the most apt example? Happily married. I think we can laugh. Let us laugh one time loudly so we can relax ourselves. I think we're a little bit tense tonight. We had a long week. MashaAllah, Fridays are the long weeks. So weekend starts tonight. Inshallah, let's loosen up. We're learning from humor of Rasulullah. So inshallah, we're going to smile more tonight. We're going to go home and make our families more happy by us smiling more also. From the Sunnah we prove it. So everybody smile one time? Nice. This is going to release some tension. So what's the most apt example of oxymoron? Happily married, two opposites. Just a joke. You know, to be light, there was a husband and wife. Many of you understand Urdu? Right. But inshallah, I'll give subtitles in English after that. Husband and wife having a light-hearted moment, and he was professing and confessing his love to his wife. So the wife said to him, "Mere marne ke baad tumhara kya hoga? If I die, what's going to happen with you? If I pass on, what's going to happen with you? You love me so much, you're going to be able to live without me." He said, "Main to tumhare pyar mein pagal ho jaunga." What is that? "Main pagal ho jaunga. I will become insane in your love." So she said, "Very well. Kahin dusri shadi to nahi karoge? Maybe you become so pagal that you actually go and marry somebody else?" He said, "Listen, I just told you, main pagal ho jaunga. Pagal ka kya bharosa? Kuch bhi kar le. Pagal ka kya bharosa? Kuch bhi kar le." He said, "The insane person, I can't speak for him. He might do whatever he wants to. He's not bound by any laws." So this is a light-hearted moment between husband and wife. They say one day a spider came in the room, and you know our wives naturally are scared of insects, and especially spiders. We all experience that. Spider came in the room, the wife jumped off the bed, and she said, "Take over." So the husband comes, he takes his shoe, he goes, he finds a spider. Spider spoke to him. Miraculously, spider spoke to him and said, "You know, you're a coward." He said, "Why?" He said, "You're just jealous over the fact that your wife is more scared of me than you. You're jealous, and so you're taking revenge and you want to kill me." Khair, moving on to Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. The word oxymoron means two opposites are put together in a sentence and a word, and contradictory words. How do we find an oxymoron for Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's description? Sahabi said, "Kana Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam mutawasil al-ahzan daim al-tabassum." Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He said Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was perpetually in ahzan, worries and concern over the well-being of his community, humanity, those who were living at the time and those who are going to live in the future. But he was so worried about this, he was consumed with that. But what was his outer approach? Da'imat tabassum, constantly smiling. This is two opposites, but how he done it, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You and I get a little bit stressed, we stop talking to our spouse. We have become more rigid and more strict with our children. With our friend, we become rude. Why? Because I'm going through some stress. Rasulullah, so much worry, Allah had to intervene. In numerous ayat of Quran, He said, لَعَلَّكَ بَاخِعٌ نَفْسَكَ أَلَّا يَكُونُوا مُؤْمِنِينَ. Surah Shu'ara, first verses. O Prophet of Allah, it is very, very possible that